J Ping here, checking in live, man. RespectMyRegion.com. Coming at you guys live. We've got a very special guest today. We've got Tina Tinoco, General Manager, Buyer, Tradecraft Farms. Today's episode is brought to you guys by Seedless Media, the cannabis industry's premier marketing agency for SEO, SMS, programmatic ads, those kinds of things. So if you're interested, reach out to them, seedless.media in the toolbar up there. But Tina, this is about you. This episode is about your career, your success, the growth. We discovered each other through LinkedIn. I was on the hunt for people that been making moves in California retail. You graciously commented, engaged, support. Shout out you being on LinkedIn and supporting. And now here we are. I have heard of Tradecraft Farms. I'm familiar. I've been in there. I met you at a location in Port Hueneme the other day. And it's impressive what you guys have built and what you guys have done, what you've curated as the buyer, as the manager. It's just overall, it's really impressive. And so, I want to, tip my hat for what you guys have created there. But I want to take it a step further. Who is Tina, and how did you get into cannabis? And then we'll get to the Tradecraft Farm stuff after that.
I got into cannabis through music, actually. So I used to promote live music and do like guerrilla marketing, social media marketing for different events, bands, things like that. And in doing that, I would go hang up posters at different dispensaries.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a dispensary that I really liked down in Vista. And we ended up making friends with the manager. And even though we were friends, my husband kind of like put the idea out there. He's like, hey, if you ever need any help, my wife has a lot of retail experience. She would love to work in a dispensary. And our friend was like, well, this isn't retail. This isn't sales. This is compassion. So I don't think it'll be a good fit. Yeah. So, time passed, and one day he called my husband, and he was like, hey, do you think your wife could come work for me tomorrow?
The first comment, such a cannabis thing to say. The second situation, such a cannabis thing to do.
100%. Yeah. And for me, I had a job. I had just got promoted, a raise. They even told me hey, we want to even start training you for another promotion. But I still, for me, life is about experiences and not about money. So it was actually my day off the next day. So I said, yeah, I'll go in, because I wanted to go in and check it out. And I came in, and my friend actually wasn't there that day. And the person who was there was like, oh, that girl over there is going to train you. And so when I went up to her, I was like, hi, I'm Christina, I'm new. She's like, I'm new too. And she's like, I just started 2 days ago. And so me and her kind of just figured out the day together. And even though it was not what I was used to working in regular retail or any job ever, I still wanted to go back the next day, and I ended up quitting my job. And
wow. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah. That impactful right off the bat.
Yeah. And I talked to my husband, and back then it was 2015. So shops were getting raided all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to my husband. I'm like, look, I got a stable job, but would you be okay if I quit? And I took this other job that I might just be there for a week, but I really want to experience this. And he was like, go for it. I support you. And so I did it. And we did get raided a few times, but we always opened up the next day or opened in a different location. So
when was this? What year was this?
2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. When you're thinking back to 2015, it wasn't that long ago, but thinking about how long ago it was so long ago now, right?
Yeah. I mean, back then, what we were doing, I felt like I don't know, we were breaking the law. We were going to get in trouble, We always had to watch our back. There was just so many things going on. And now it's different, like walk into City Hall and, shake hands with the police chief and they thank us for our contributions. It's just crazy how in, 5 years things just changed.
I was on the phone today, and I just want to show love to my guy Luke Scarmazzo, and we were talking about how different things have been, over this time, and the different fact that where we're at was, it was like a light switch turned on for some of these people on this legislation, and all of a sudden things was just safe or okay or legal, and contributions and thank yous and hands, but there's still these people in prison for it. It's
Hmm.
just stuff to think about. And so for those of you guys watching, be thinking about these cannabis prisoners, have them on the top of your mind. Free Edwin Rubis and all the nonviolent cannabis prisoners out there. While that came into my head thinking about that today, because it's so different. Y'all got raided, and you could be one of those people that was were in there.
Yeah, definitely. I was lucky enough to whenever we got raided, I wasn't there. I was just so lucky. There was one time I wasn't feeling well, and so the day before, I messaged like our group chat, and I'm like, "Hey, can anybody cover me tomorrow? Because I think I'm gonna end up calling out." And one of the girls was like, "I'll work for you," and she ended up getting arrested, and she didn't come back to work for us after that, because she
Nah,
just,
that's traumatic.
yeah, because she was scared. She was
I've
scared of
heard
it
I've
happening
heard quite a
again.
bit of stories about what that's been like, and the feelings of that, and what it the trauma of flashlights and guns and just gear and
Yeah,
doors opening aggressively or certain knocks, and how that can impact you. And that's no joke. And now you think like, man, let's fast forward to where we met the other day in that beautiful retail establishment.
yeah,
And you guys have now built, so at least with Tradecraft, you guys are at 4 cities:
yes,
Port Hueneme, Monte. You said Lancaster, which is a new city that offers legal cannabis, and Vista.
yes.
And so you're the general manager at the Port Hueneme location. You've done that. You've done that role at a couple of them, though,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, and whenever we have a new store, I open that
So
new
yeah,
location.
you oversee the operations and the team, and bring
Yeah,
the right people on. You got to formulate the success,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then you mentioned offline as well that you also buy for the locations.
yeah.
So I noticed that while we were there was a cool grow inside, and some of the products that I had to review actually came from a couple of your guys' farms and partners and things like that. Talk to me a little bit about Tradecraft Farms and your guys' ethos for how you curate the menu, and like what you guys offer to patients, right? Like how what goes into the mindset of Tradecraft Farms and how you curate your guys' products that you offer to people?
So it's really hard to answer. Um, every year we have like almost completely different genetics on our shelf. We're constantly changing our like core menu. We have like the same core menu for 1 year, and then the next year it's all new strains, which is cool because people do like to see variety. But then also people are like, "Oh, but I miss biscotti," and we don't have biscotti anymore.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so I kind of, on the retail level, I don't know what goes into choosing those strains. The one thing I do know is our founder and owner, Brent Walker, he is very passionate about having his products direct to consumer at a low price.
Yeah.
That's why we have our stores. That's why we do what we do.
I think your eighths that you gave me that, or I think it was a 3.5 or maybe 4 gram eighth. I don't. Yeah, it was a 4 gram eighth for $30
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
yes, yeah. We have a $5 pre roll of indoor top shelf flower. It's just like a mix, though. We don't really know what strain. It's like leftover mix of our flour, but it's $5, and that's like probably our top selling SKU. So he's always just really pushed for us being affordable for customers and them having really great product for that price.
Yeah.
And we grow hydroponic. Brent thinks that like that's the cleanest way to have cannabis, is hydroponic, and so that's the way we grow our flower. But then we also have, recently we started doing hoop houses, and we have sun grown flower.
Nice.
So that's new for us. We started that last year at our cultivation in Lancaster. So like even more, we're able to offer like all different price points, all different types of items for
Wait,
customers.
so Lancaster has Hoop House Grow out there?
Yeah, in the desert.
Wow, that's so cool because my understanding was that some of these cities like Lancaster and along that area wasn't so hot with the cannabis movement the first couple years.
They weren't. It took a long time to get them to come around. When we first opened our Vista store, we were getting people from like the Lancaster like city council visiting our store in Vista because they were trying to learn and see what it was about. A lot of people have a misconception of like who shops for cannabis, what the vibe is like at that store. So they came in, they see, our stores are so beautiful, and they see, a lot of our customers are,
And at least in Vista, it's like, and
a
it's
lot
not
of
to be,
vets.
it's like a lot of vets because we so close to the to the base. It's
Yeah,
a lot of elderly people because that's just the nature of that area. And then I couldn't help but notice it was just a lot of brown people that work hard
yeah,
and just work. You're the working local population,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
the moms, the dads, the construction worker, the guy, the bus driver. I think I saw a mailman in there too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah. And so, people, I don't, they think of it as like you already know, I don't have to tell you all the stigma people think about cannabis still exists. But yeah, Lancaster, finally, they're open to it. We were the first store in Lancaster to open. So that was really exciting to be a part of. And, like the customers, the staff, they're also appreciative of having cannabis there because everybody was like driving to LA or they're going to trap shops where they don't really trust or feel safe about what they're getting there, or even
yeah.
just shopping there.
There's so much that goes into the customer experience when you think about the reality of life. You got gas, time, traffic, work, family. There's a lot of variables, and then you have the cannabis, right?
Hmm.
And so it's like, you guys obviously operate in a variety of cities. Port Hueneme, that's over here on, it's, I think they call that what is that, Central Coast, right? Santa Barbara Coast.
Hmm.
It's a beautiful town. You guys have a wonderful location there. You guys got an indoor grow for people to see. That's so cool. And I was multi-level, right? There was It was
Hmm.
the
It's
stack, right?
stacked. Yeah, that's how we have
Super.
all our cultivations.
Yeah, that's super cool to see that. I won't dive too hard into the cultivation stuff because we're on the retail side of
Yeah.
things. But one of the things that when we first spoke and I discovered that you were the buyer for the stores. Remember, I said, "Oh man, I was definitely one of those people hitting you with the emails, right?" And so I want to touch a little bit on that part because there's something to be said about business etiquette. There's something to be said about just the nature of business, and people have these misconceptions, these notions. They get butthurt. They take it personal, and the reality is you're a human. This is a
Yeah.
this is not necessarily everyone's full time life that they do.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what is the best process for people in California, these brands, these sales reps, right? Myself included. What is that best process for people to be able to not annoy you, but still be able to get what they're trying to get to you, right? Whether you check it or not, they can't control that, right? But
Right.
how do we get what we're trying to get just to you? So when you have time and you're doing your thing, we can at least be sitting there ready.
Yeah, no. So I would say drop off samples. And even if I don't get them, if my team tries them and they really like it, they'll tell me and they'll push and they'll say, like, hey, like, I think this is really cool. I think you should check it out. And I listen to them a lot because I'm not able to try everything. I think I don't know how other buyers do things. But because I'm a manager too, and there's other hats I wear as well, um, it's really hard for me to set up meetings and have that one-on-one time.
Yep, yep.
So I really do count on my staff and their feedback. So that for me really works. Um, I will also say, don't text me if you don't know me. Sometimes, like, because it's my personal number, and sometimes I get text messages from people I don't even know or calls,
Yeah,
and I'm like, how did you even get my number?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
email me. You don't know me yet.
No,
um,
that's fair. And it goes back to that business etiquette, right? There's definitely the ability, like, if you've got relationships with people, right, where maybe they can introduce you, then that's between you and that person. And maybe that situation becomes different, right? But
yeah,
the reality of business, though, is to be respectful of people as humans first and treat it as a job. And then, follow the path. I wanted to give you that opportunity to
yeah.
communicate the way you wanted to be communicated with.
Thank
So
you.
that way, Tradecraft Farm, because your guys' goal is to be the best you can be. And
Yeah,
these people's goals, in theory, is to be that too. And so, for everybody to be the best, you've got to work together. It's about teamwork and collaboration. And if you don't know nobody, how are you going to be able to communicate well if you're just forcing yourself onto people, right? And
yeah,
so, be considerate for those of you watching. I'm a sales rep. I'm doing the same thing. I was asking for myself, and I'm asking for the other people because you've got to be able to earn that relationship, and it does take time to be there. And for those of you guys that get butthurt, that's just your energy. That's your perception of how it is. People are busy, man. She's GM and buyer for multiple locations. How's she supposed to check everything? Come on.
yeah,
Now let's pivot. I'm ready to pivot. I wanted to touch on that because that's an important thing just to get out the way for people. Tradecraft Farms, Big Cali moves. Now, as the buyer for a multiple location chain, multiple locations, you're obviously have a bunch of experience with products and all that. I want to talk about what some of the better products in California are. What are some of those brands? What are some of these top performers? When we linked in person, you gave me a bag of products to do product reviews on. Some of the items available in the store were the same items that are the best of the best all over the place, right?
mhm,
It's the Kivas, it's these Caminos, it's this flower brand, it's this vape, whatever it is. So I'm interested in hearing you talk about some of the things that you feel deserve that attention, right? Because you gave me a bag of products that was specific to your curation. And
yeah.
so let's talk about that. What are some of those products and brands on your menu that definitely are good at what they do, but they just don't get that love yet?
Yeah. So let's see. One of those, I feel like a lot of the brands are wellness brands. I feel wellness brands are overlooked a lot because the industry focuses on marketing high potency, um, trendy kind of stuff,
And flour.
and flower. Yeah. And I feel like even if somebody, like me, I started using cannabis flower first. But I love the wellness products work a lot. They're way more effective, I feel. Especially for like at my age and like, being on the sales floor all day. I need a little bit of wellness in my life, but I really love like Mary's medicinals. They have patches.
Classic.
They have transdermal patches that I love. And they have something for everyone and everything. They have like CBG, they have THCV, they have like a one-to-one for you to like for pain and relaxing. So those are really, really great. There's been times where I didn't feel well, or maybe I was traveling and I wasn't somewhere where I could really smoke or I would get kicked out. And those patches really helped me. So I think those are really great. Also, wild gummies. Specifically, the new ones that they've made with like CBC and CBG in them
Hmm.
are amazing. They have almost like triple the amount of cannabinoids that a regular THC edible has, but they're only like $2-3 more.
Yeah, and
You
that's huge. That's huge when we're trying to recreate some version of an entourage effect, whatever that might look like.
know?
It's definitely important to be able to still keep that cost down for the customer because smoking is relatively super accessible all the way up, right? And
Right.
so edibles, you got to be able to have the affordable snack all the way, with just whatever in it, all the way up to the nicer things. And Wild tucks themselves in really affordably for their products. Tastes great. That flower packaging, how it opens up,
Yeah.
really well done, man. Wild's always been at the top of the game. Shout out. That's the number one gummy in America.
Is it really? Yeah. I mean, I could see why, because I kind of stopped taking edibles for a really long time because they just have so much sugar in them,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not like a healthy person or anything like that. But I try to be healthier with weed, with drinking. I try to cut back on sugar, calories, things like that when I'm doing those things.
Yeah.
But when Wild came out with these new CBC and CBG edibles, I was like, wow. And you don't have to take as much because there's triple the amount of cannabinoids.
Yeah.
So
Man,
with the sugar.
I literally took a sleep. I've been taking these sleep gummies. I'm not going to name the brand because we're talking about Wild right now, but I've been taking these sleep gummies, 5 milligram THC, 5 milligram CBD, 5 milligram CBN, and I sleep great. But then I took these ones where it was 5 and then 20 milligram CBD and 5 CBN, and the restfulness, the difference in that. People think that it's all THC this, but man, these other cannabinoids, CBD, CBN, these combinations, when you really start to not do weed, like not smoke flower, and then just really focus on the effects of these other products that are ingestible minor cannabinoid infusions. They they work. Going back to the patch comment, I sent my grandma a bunch of CBD and hemp products, and somehow, some way, she found something that was my mom's, and it was one of these Mary's patches, and it was the sativa one, or maybe it was a Papa Barkley sativa. It was a sativa patch, and she said, my grandpa co-signed it. She put this patch on thinking it was a pain patch, and it kind of was,
Yeah.
but she had the best day, and was giggly and just goofing around with people and having fun. And she called me and told me about it when she realized that that's what it was, because she didn't look at the packaging at first. Shout
Yeah.
out her not having her glasses on or something. But it was one of those situations where, you know, given the opportunity for those things to really do what they're supposed to do, it's definitely impressive. Now, those are just a couple of products. We've mentioned Wild, you mentioned Mary's.
Yeah.
What are some of those other quality brands in that wellness space that really catch your eye and really do a great job?
Well, I've always loved Friendly, their FSO, but
Oh,
recently I saw this post that Beard Bros posted where this girl put RSO in her belly button. So I was like, I wonder if that will work with this FSO. And so I put FSO in my belly button, put a band-aid over it so it doesn't leak out. And I've had like the best sleep I've ever had since, like, I don't remember how long.
now you sound crazy.
I know, it's crazy. It's
I ain't
real.
never heard nobody doing anything with no belly buttons. Not not even on some weird stuff. I've never heard nobody doing anything in belly button. There's just no belly button activity been in my life. But you're telling me that RSO, and in this case, full spectrum oil, FSO, you've been having the best sleep by using it as a RSO topical minus these other things, and it just is working.
Yes.
I
And
gotta.
I feel high too. Like I feel the high. Um, but
That's.
also I pass out right after. Yeah.
I mean, I've used RSO topicals. When RSO is the infusion oil into these other ingredients, the shea butters, the carnauba wax,
Yeah.
whatever it is, and I've got no issue with it. I mean, I'm just putting it out now. It's just the oil straight and not the other ingredients. So I guess it's not as weird. It's really just the belly button activity that kind of makes it interesting. But now that I know that that's a friendly place for, we'll call it like the internal thing. Maybe I'll eat less sugar gummies and try that sometime.
You should try it. It's very interesting. I tried it multiple times because I didn't believe it the first time either. I was like, maybe I was just tired. No, it works.
That's hilarious. So, okay, so Friendlies, and for those of you guys that don't know and that are watching, that's Friendly Farms, formerly known as, now Friendly brand. They have a full spectrum oil product. It's in a syringe. You're supposed to eat it and put it on things. I have seen people dab that stuff. It's not what it's meant for. Doesn't taste good. Doesn't do anything good to your rigs. It's just dark. So definitely don't do that. but definitely good for our products. So I wasn't expecting Friendly on that list, but I have seen that product around for years. Do you have any others that round out your top five there?
So not wellness, but I've really been loving 710 Labs lately.
You gave me an eighth of their Z cubed or one of their other strains. What is so attractive to you about 710 Labs and their products and brand?
Um, so I really like how they don't fake the funk with their THC percentage. Um, all their THC percentages that I've had on our flower that we have in store that I've tried is anywhere from like 17% to 25%,
Yeah.
which I'm like, cool. They're being real.
No, for sure.
And it smokes really great, really great. It's smooth, and I'm usually a joint smoker, but right now in the apartment I live in, I'm smoking out of like a little tiny bong, and I have a little. I do the little toilet paper thing with the dryer sheets, so it doesn't smell as much, and candles and everything. Anyways, I've noticed that I have haven't really been getting that high doing those little snappers, but when I was smoking the 710, I felt it like that.
Wow.
Um,
So that
so
means it's definitely not the high THC because it's not high. It's
right,
definitely the cannabinoid content and the terpenes
yeah,
plus whatever THCs are there.
yes, yeah.
Impressive, impressive. I believe I smoked some of the smaller nugs from that just to see what it was like because I wasn't sure. I don't know what those strains are. 710 does their own breeding. And so they have all kinds of things that no one's ever heard of because they are the cooks in the kitchen cooking up that fire
Yeah,
phenos and crossing craziness. And so, but yeah, I thought the weed was very impressive. It
I
was
know. Like,
sweet.
oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say I know a few years ago I tried their flower and I was like, this is not good. Like, so I really wasn't excited about trying it again or bring it into our stores. And I
Mm-hmm.
told our rep like, we can do the the rosin, but I don't want the flower. But
Yeah.
he put it in my hands, and I was like, all right, I'm wrong. You guys
So the
got me.
flower, so that flower was impressive as well. I don't remember if you guys offer the rosin that they sell. Do you guys sell that at the store? Yeah.
And the pods and pre rolls too.
So obviously their specialty is rosin. They do full flower joints. They do rosin pods. They have the grams. They've got the Percy, which is the premier special line stuff, and then these different tiers. 710 Labs crushes it, man. They actually the homie LMC just released on YouTube based a documentary on 710 Labs. Everybody should go check that out. Just search on YouTube 710 Labs Exposed, and it kind of walks people through that. You guys will see some RMR footage from our podcast episode with Brad Melshanker. Shout out 710 Labs blessing us on the very first episode of the very first season of the North American Weed Tour. 710 Labs rock with us. That was super dope. But this whole episode can't be dedicated to them, man. This is about you, Tina. This is about your come up. This is about Tradecraft Farms. This is about us identifying what is the best of the best. Now, this is what you guys sell currently. These are some of the offerings. We talked about Friendly's FSO, 710 Labs' latest couple runs of flower. Their rosin's always good, right? You mentioned Mary's Medicinals. That's a great one. What about you have your guys's flower is quality and affordable, and you have two
Mhm.
types of flower. You have indoor, which is quality and affordable, and a good breeding project there. And then you guys also have sun grown hoops now out of Lancaster. How exciting! But what's in Tradecraft Farms doesn't necessarily reflect California entirely, right? And no one store does, right? So in your years being with the brand, being here in Cali, do you have that top three products that really has stood out to you, and maybe the brands? Is there brands that really stands out to you that you just want to show love to with this best all time in Cali or best now in
Yeah.
Cali?
So one of my favorite all time brands is Bear Labs.
Okay, Bear Labs
Yeah,
making the call, getting the shout out. Love that.
I love them a lot.
Okay,
They're
what about Bear Loves is special to you?
yeah. So we've been working with Bear Labs for a few years now. And they are probably like one of the top selling concentrates in our store. But they also have I feel like they have every consistency. They have every tier available. They also have like their other brands under them, which are like Wavy, which
Yeah.
is a really good brand at a really affordable price.
Because these guys are extractors at their core, right? Like these guys, they're literally chefing it up, man. They live and breathe the science. I've met their teams at the secret sessions. I've been following them online. A lot of retailers really love their product. I mean, to be real, when I go buy rosin places, I feel like at least 6 times out of 7, maybe 7 times out of 10, the price point I'm looking at is always Bear Labs and some of their items, you
Mhm.
know? And so it's really I think they do really great work. Now, that's a good extract brand, those guys.
And they just came out with like their disposable vape. That's really good too.
Nice.
And I don't really like vapes too much, but theirs was really good. Yeah.
Okay. So Bear Labs with the disposable vapes coming out. I think those are now called all-in-ones. Shout out the laws changing. And then they've got really great dabs. I remember them with the live resin phase. I remember that I've been buying them in the rosin phase.
Mm-hmm.
Who else you got? That's brand number one. We got 2 more. Who are your other 2 top brands in Cali? If someone's flying in to California, they land at LAX, they fly into the what is it, John L. Wayne Airport or whatever it is. What should they get? What are those 2 brands?
True Classics.
Ooh, that OG.
Yeah. They have a really great OG. And it's hard to find good OGs now. And they have yeah. And their new strawberry cherry gelato is really great too.
Okay. So Tina's an OG, you guys, and she smokes OG. So we like that. We trust that. You know a real SoCal girl when they mention OGs. You feel me? We like that. We like that. Okay, so now we're on the final one. And now this isn't about best all time. This is about who right now in California. You know, you think about all your years of experience, you think about all the samples that people have left, all of the us sales reps pulling up on you, trying to pitch you shit, man. Who has who's up at the top? Who's sitting with you at a table right now? What's that brand?
That's what how say it again.
Best of the best today. You've mentioned True Classics. You mentioned who was the other one?
Bear Labs.
Bear
Like what
Labs.
do we sell the most in our store?
No. This is your thoughts. Cali market as a whole.
Mm,
It's a tough one.
that's a very tough one.
I know
I
buyers.
feel
I know buyers and bud tenders that don't shop at the store they work at.
I was about to say I feel like what the market or the customers like is so different from what I like.
Yeah, but you're the curator.
Yeah, if I curated the store the way I wanted to, we'd probably be less busy.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so then let's split this up into a 2-part. What's your favorite, and what does the store say? What is
So
the numbers?
the store would say the top selling brand or top selling thing would be probably King Rolls by Kingpin.
Wow, those infused joints, those
Yes.
packs. Wow, okay.
We sell a lot of units of those. A lot.
Shout out the homie. I'm blanking on his name right now, but shout out the homie that helped create those products back in the day, man. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
cool to hear. All right, so the numbers say that King Rose is crushing for you guys. All right. Now, in your eyes, what do you think is that right there? So we already had True Classics. That's some of the best flour. Got Bear Labs, some of the best oil out there. What's another brand that sits there right at that table with all them guys?
Hmm.
I got one for you, but I don't know if you sell this one.
So I'll say one that I don't sell. I've tried samples and I would love to get them in my store. I just haven't been able to like find a budget for it. But I love Mad Cow Genetics.
Oh, that is fire weed, man. I'm
Yeah.
told that to date, Mad Cow is pretty much handling the flower cultivation for the indoor parts of cookies and their stuff. And the weed from them has always been phenomenal, whether it's in their bags or whether it's in cookies. Mad Cow is flame.
Yeah.
I was going to throw a brand in there. Award winning per the Emerald Cup this year. Award winning last year when I was at the Emerald Cup. My favorite edible, because it's one of my favorite humans. There is a bias, but it's also that delicious. It's Space Gems. I love the sour space gems from Wendy's team, and they won the best tincture this year. They switched from a syrup to a real tincture, and that shit won, and so that was exciting for them. And so I have two things of space gems that are I just love those artisanal, chewy, good sour. I don't know, just makes my
I've
even
tried them. They really are good.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
There's been some really good edibles out there. There's some really good beverages there, but yeah, that's my favorite one. I also really like Emerald Sky, man. Them damn peanut butter cups are crazy.
Yeah.
They got these vegan chews. I want to say like blackberry lime or something. That was
Mhm.
nuts. That was fire. There's just some great products, and so Tina, thank you for sharing your perspective and helping give some game for the people. Today's episode, everybody, is brought to you guys by Seedless Media. You guys can visit seedless.media on your guys' internet browser there to check out the marketing agency that powers these episodes. Tina, thank you again so much for sharing everything. I look forward to having you on, and I'll be sharing the reviews with you guys soon. For those of you guys watching, this was the first official episode of the California Cannabis Podcast, and it was
Yeah.
a very special guest here, Tina Tinoco, GM and buyer of the 4-location multi-store brand Tradecraft Farms. They are vertical, folks. They have beautiful stores. They grow pretty good weed. I smoked it. The review's live already, and they have great people running it. And so, thank you again, Tina. For everybody watching, talk that shit. Do what you got to do. But no matter what, we'll be back with more episodes coming soon. I love.